Hello and thank you for joining me. My name is Greg Tullo. I'm the Vice President of Professional Services for the Americas. And today I'm going to give you a brief overview of the Viedoc eClinical system. So Viedoc Reports opens in a new tab. This is a really powerful dashboard that is always included with your study license. We do not charge any extra to access this particular module that you're seeing right now. This also only takes us 5 minutes to set up for you. That's another powerful feature of Viedoc, is that our setup speeds are really quite incredible. So opening Viedoc Reports takes about 30 seconds to load, but we land here on the dashboard. And I'll scroll out on my screen ever so slightly so we can see some more information all in one place. At this point, I can see screened, enrolled, enrollment progress, enrollment rate. My study plan are actual subjects enrolled in my study. So the green actual numbers, we see where we are today. I can see PM1, which is project milestone 1. That indicates exactly when we were expecting our enrollment to end. We see we'll be at 100% estimated on this date here, and we know that we're going to beat our goal. So that's great. We're in really good shape. However, if ever this gray part of the bar were to eclipse project milestone 1, the goal, we can then use our recruitment curve and say stratify this by site, and we can see which sites might be underperforming. Perhaps these groups just aren't adding subjects at the rate that we were hoping, and that's bringing down our overall enrollment rate and maybe putting at risk, the whole study at risk from missing the recruitment goal. Other basic reports here, subject status, reason for withdrawal, study events initiated. Much of this is customized based on the information you put in your schedule of events, or for this donut chart here, what you actually have on your end of study form. So you're not locked into just these particular parameters. Next tab over, we have this basic demographics report. 5 out of 6 of these panels are customizable. What I love about this is that if I click anywhere on this static chart here indicating my site number, I can then stratify all of my other charts based on that parameter. So now we're looking at our age per site, and I can expand this view to get more details, and I have really high quality graphics here and the underlying data. Both of these can then be downloaded and be brought into your presentations for your next meeting. Moving next to adverse events. Very similarly, we can customize 5 out of the 6 tables. The study sites table is the only thing that is static, but once again, I can click on any of these charts and stratify based on that parameter. The data browser area is similar to what we saw earlier in preview data. However, this has a few more bells and whistles and some additional columns of metadata that I can bring in to the view. And that could be useful to me as a data manager or as a monitor in order to reflect what's going on in my study. It's also worth noting we have some additional download formats here. So Excel, CSV, and XPT, which is then directly importable into SAS. But last but not least, and perhaps most importantly, is the Reports tab. Out of the box, we have a large number of standard reports. Again, almost no configuration needed in order to have these reports available to you. Some of them are very standard. You would expect to have a recruitment report or a missing data report. However, what's a little different about our system is that each report is multi-leveled. So here I can see my recruitment report by country, by site, by subject, and then another one where you can view subject by date. Let's take a look at that. This is actually bringing us down to a very, very granular line listing. So as you familiarize yourself with all of our standard reports, you'll see that each and every one has a very specific use case to meet the needs of all of our clients. But what I do want to highlight now are these last 2 reports here. These are fairly new. And what I like about these personally is that they're really sub-applications within our platform. So our audit trail review report is very useful, especially in the world now where a lot of the regulatory agencies are asking us as data managers to be paying attention to changes in previously saved data. You could, of course, extract your complete audit trail using the data exports area that I previously showed. That's fine. You can export it into CSV or Excel, and you can mine that data in that particular software. However, using this dashboard, you can achieve the same thing without the need of another program or even exporting your data. So as an example, I can say, well, I'm only interested in data updates. So this is changes after the initial database insertion or save. And I could also say, well, I'm only interested in, let's say, adverse events. I can then click apply, and all of my metrics will update. So I can see that I have 37 changes based on those parameters in Sweden, 32 in Germany, and 6 in the United States. As I scroll down, I'm zooming in, and here I can see my data operations by site. So my problem sites being Uppsala and Berlin. Moving on down, I can see, well, we specified only the adverse events event. So of course, that's all we see here. There's only one form associated with that event. So again, we only see one parameter. But this is where things get interesting. These are my actual number of updates per field. So I do need to know what my field code is, but I do know that this second column that has 7 changes is the severity of an adverse event. Based on my study, it might make sense that I'm seeing some changes on that field as the study progresses, or perhaps it's something I'm not expecting to see change. So I do need to know my study and then make the appropriate call of whether or not I need to contact these sites about why they're changing certain parameters. Here we're looking at our key risk indicator report. When we land on the overview page, we're really meant to take a very brief look at the right-hand column, and that's going to show us a series of circles. And we're interested here in the circles, or the sites rather, that have the highest number of circles that aren't green, where red or orange here, depending on your resolution, is bad, and yellow is considered a cautionary point. So I can see that Uppsala and Shanghai in this demo study are at the top of my list. Now, each of these circles represents a specific key risk indicator, and while I can hover my mouse over each circle to see what they are, it's not really how we're intended to use this particular dashboard. I'll instead go in by site. I'll select Uppsala, which I know is my problem site right now, and I can see the parameters that are in the red or orange. So data changes performed were a little bit higher than the study mean. Confirmed missing data per subject, also a little bit higher. So the system here is looking at these metrics across all of the sites, and then it's taking out the site of interest and saying, well, where are you compared to the study average? So in this case, where we're greater than 2 standard deviations from the mean, we have a problem. We have a problem we need to deal with. So I want to work with this site in order to bring their number of data changes down closer to the study mean, because that's more reflective of how this study is actually progressing. You can also look at all of these key risk indicators by key risk indicator. So here, if I want to look at my number of adverse events per subject, I can do that. Or perhaps I want to look at my unconfirmed missing items for all of my sites, I can do that as well. So there's a whole bunch of these key risk indicators that we're able to generate between each and every study in our systems simply based on the back-end metadata. But perhaps none of these reports do exactly what you want them to do. That's where the custom reports section comes in. It's very, very useful. The custom reports section is driven by R, the statistical reporting package. R is open source, and you are able to program in that language, upload the code to our system, and then the results of that code are available here under custom reports whenever you want them using the current data cut. So if I click on the simple custom report for data summary, it will run the code and then populate a line listing for me. So I can see all that information based on the data cut. It is worth mentioning that Viedoc Reports updates itself every 24 hours. However, there is a button that you can click to do an on-demand refresh of the data and look at the data as of right now. So Viedoc Reports is a really powerful tool. It doesn't cost you anything, and it has a lot of customizability.